Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Have you played that game? Yes, we have. We played every single game. Come join me as we picked up right where we left off. It's the middle of December 1982.
In a place outside time.
And we were last reading Electronic Games Magazine, giving you way too many video games. Let's see what our next video game release is and play something. Our next video game takes us to Japan. We're going to play on the Sharp MZ line of home computers, and this is Space B. Space B. We've played a lot of video games and a lot of space games, and we haven't seen Space B. Why? Shouldn't we have seen a game called Space B up to this point? I mean, we've seen Space Ball, Space Battle, Space Beam, Space Bugger, but no Space B. But here it is. This is the first time we've seen Space B. In Japan, the cassette tapes are actually flipped on the side, so the spine is actually at the bottom. We've seen a lot of them do that. Very, very clever, very nice. This marks the 35th game we played on the Sharp MZ line of home computers. We played the 80B series, the MZ 3500, the 80K series. Most of them have been on the MZ 700 series, which is essentially the 80K with color graphics. This is on the MZ 2000, and because I wanted to give you something special for the holiday season in December 1982, I got a specialized emulator that'll run the MZ 2000 so we can see what's up with Space B. 3,000 yen for this. The front is anime-ish. Very weird front of the box, though. I dig it. Anything will work. Let's see what other artwork we have for Space B. So this game, it wouldn't surprise me if this is found in other Japanese home computers, but I can't find any proof that this was found anywhere else but here on the Sharp MZ 2000. On the front of this, we have Carry Soft or Carry Lab. It's the second time we've seen this company after Puckman. They did in 1981 on the Sharp MZ. And what else do we have? We have, the other spines. Ooh, of the box. There it is, our cassette tape, because in 1982, you played video games on cassette. And you enjoyed those loading sounds, and you waited long enough. There's the screenshot. Let's just pop in that cassette and see how long it takes to load Space B. This is Carry Lab, and it is December 16th, 1982. All right, ready? You can do disc or cassette. We're going with cassette. Going to hit C, and I'm just kidding. We don't have to wait that long to load. This game comes up pretty quick. It's going to load us up, and it's going to ask what kind of screen we want. We want black and white or color. I'm going to go with 2 for a color screen. Ooh, very nice. Opening boots up, we got the Space Bees flying all over the place. They weren't kidding. There's really Space Bees around here. And it says Carry Lab by Hasegawa. Hasegawa. Most likely that might be Hiroshi Hasegawa. And at this point, this is the first game, at least that I can tell. The video games in Japan, right now, home computer games in Japan, a lot of them have been making video games before the ones that can be tracked in modern video game history. I've been uncovering video game Japanese nerds that have been posting this stuff, but there's still so much that possibly could be missing. Did Hasegawa do anything before this? It wouldn't surprise me, but this is the first time we've ever seen it. All right, didn't explain anything about the game. Did anyone see? Okay, there you go. 4 and 6 and space, and we got all the points right here. Yeah, I'm ready. Push a key to play. Keyboard controls only, and we're in. Oh yeah, we can already tell from the screenshot you saw before and from the original, like the attract mode gameplay. Can I blow up the top? Oh, can I get him? Oh, you can. Nice. Little mothership that was dropping the bees. Oh, he just comes back. So the controls are very simple. Just move left, move right, fire. It is responsive. It works very well on all the games we play on the home computers. Can't complain. The amount of enemies on screen is very nice, and the movement... What was that? Whoa! It was a ladybug that came down on the screen and turned into shrapnel and blew it all over the place. All right, I don't know if I should take out the mother base or not, because it's just going to keep respawning. Let's just take... Oh, no, more bees are coming down. And I haven't worked out the pattern. Uh-oh, here comes the ladybug. I don't think... I should wait. Should I let it? I think if it hits the bottom, it's going to do something and blow everything up. Okay, no more boss. Does that mean I got to get rid of all the bees? There's so many bees. No, it keeps coming. Okay, maybe it just keeps going from the screen. All right, I'm going to let the ladybug fall. What happens when the ladybug drops? Oh my gosh. Okay, the shrapnel of the ladybug can destroy you, so you gotta make sure you're in the right spot. Good to know. All right, so it says counting. It's counting down at the bottom. It shows my cannon. What is my cannon? I didn't see the instructions for cannon. Is it Z? Let me just mash random keys on the keyboard and see if the cannon does anything. Anything? Oh, cannon would be your number of lives. Got it. All right, so far, I don't have any real complaints. Right now, on a home computer, if you were in Japan, you'd have a blast. This would be a very fun waste of time. You'd enjoy yourself. All right, let's blow this bug up. Go for the high score. Oh, and the shrapnel can destroy the bees. That's pretty cool. But what you're seeing here is basically it. They're not keeping a number of levels. You don't move on. It's just how far can you go and how many points can you get. It's a score attack game. I mean, it's what's not to love. Which brings us to, of all the games we've seen so far, which brings us to our first Chrono recap. We call these video games fixed shooters on Chronologically Gaming. Fixed shooters are essentially a subgenre of shoot-'em-ups, or the proto version of shoot-'em-ups. Of all the games that we've seen up to this point, this video game is the 422nd fixed shooter across all systems. On home computers, it's the 248th fixed shooter and the third that we've seen on the Sharp MZ up to this point, after Phobos and UFO by Solo Software. This kind of game is really similar to games we've seen for other fixed shooters, but I really wanted to figure out, are there any other games like this? So I had to go drudge in the trenches of the arcade games we saw in the 70s. So I first wanted to bring up the obvious one. Everyone, I think I was already brought it. It's very similar to Galaxian, which is in the arcades. The enemies come down, and they swoop around a little bit. They have movements like insects too. But there was another title we saw in the late 70s called Space Cyclone in the arcades. This one has similar mechanics where the enemies go down like this. They kind of move around, see at the bottom of the screen before they come up. This is one of the first examples of, okay, enemies have movement. They actually hang around on the bottom layer and then move up to the top again. Another game that's kind of like this is Kamikaze or Astro Invader, where enemies come down and make a shockwave on the bottom of the screen. Another great example in the arcades was Stratovox that we saw. The talking one. That one still had swooping enemy movements, and they would come down a little bit at the bottom of the screen. And the other example I thought of was King and Balloon. This one's getting inspiration from that and arcade games from this era. Feels like the 70s already. There's also a game called Magical Spot that does it. Right here, this game footage, the enemies are at the top of the screen, but Magical Spot 1 and 2, they come down to the bottom. But then one other one we saw in the arcades, late 70s, like 79, 80, was Indian Battle. Indian Battle, same thing. Enemies come down to the bottom of the screen, and they actually hang out by the player where you're shooting, and then they move themselves back up to the top of the screen. But there's other games that we've seen that are fixed shooters on home computers, because we usually compare the games to everything else on home computers, and everything we've seen so far for home computers has been where games go down, they go to the bottom and come back up. The game UFO by Solo Software is an example that we saw on the Sharp MZ700. It's kind of like Kamikaze or Astro Invader. And another example is Alien Ambush that we saw both on the Atari home computer and on the Apple II, where enemies actually go down to the bottom, hang out a little bit, and then come back up. But I can't be remiss to bring up the arcade machine. You can design your own Galaxian game, so you can design the game to respond and act like this game. Arcade machine still tops. You can play it on the Apple II and the Atari home computer right now. Another really cool one is AE that we've seen both on the Atari home computer and the Apple II. AE has swooping enemy movements, but it's a little more extravagant, like Galaga-ish. The really cool close game that I could find that's close to this game was Cloudburst on the Commodore VIC-20. It is very, very different than the Atari home computer version. The VIC-20 version is pretty much like this. Enemies come down, they hang out on the bottom layer, and they keep going. But the even closest one is in Japan. We saw a game called Space Amoeba on the PC 8801. It does exactly what this game is doing. It just, doesn't take place in space and there's no bees. So this whole kind of genre of fixed shoot 'em up eventually morphed into Centipede, because the Centipede goes all the way down to the bottom and comes back up. So maybe you can call this game Galaxian, maybe not, but I'd still say of all the games we've seen so far on home computers, Space B is still pretty average. It's a fun time, and you'd have a great time playing the game, but I wouldn't go so far as saying this thing's super amazing. Looking over the chat, I got some 2.5, 3 stars. Actually, that's the thing. 2.5 to 3 stars of all the games you could play on home computers. Even Mike's thrown out 2 stars for everything up to this point. Oh, and someone's bringing up Mooncresta. I don't know. Yeah, it's in the same vein as something like Galaxian. So I'm still saying this is a Galaxian variant. It's similar to Galaxian. It's not a complete ripoff, but yeah, I'm going to concede. I'm not going to say so far as bad. I'll say 2.5 stars. Of all the games you could play, Space Bee is an all right time. You're going to have a pretty good time playing this one. All right, let's see what our next video game is. We're next going to go to the United Kingdom and play on the Sinclair ZX81. This is Admiral Graf Spee. I thought we already played this game. Didn't we already play Admiral Graf Spee? This should not be confused with Pursuit of the Graf Spee by SSI. Hardcore strategy video game. This is completely different game, completely different series. First time we're going to see this is on the Sinclair ZX81, and it's the 98th game we've seen for this little computer / calculator. It's also, we count this as the same as Timex Sinclair 1000. The box is telling us we're going to do a battleship. Actually, it looks like it's meant to be a little kiddie version of the Graf Spee. Another cassette game. Only the most quality games here on Chronologically Gaming. What other artwork do we have for Admiral Graf Spee? There's the cassette out of its sleeve, an example of the screenshot, and we even have, if you open up the inside, what does it say the game is? Here it is. Based on historically accurate records of the Graf Spee's killer expedition in the North and South Atlantic, intermittent flashing pixel on your chart denotes the presence of an enemy ship in the Atlantic. The year is 1940. As captain of the Admiral Graf Spee, your task is to sink all enemy shipping in these waters using your 6 11-inch guns and torpedoes. 11-inch? 11-foot? Search the area, locate the ship. I can't tell because the resolution is so bad. And yeah, it goes through the information of how you're supposed to play the game. Let's just pop in that cassette and see what in the world this is going to be like. This is by Simon R. Mansfield, published by Temptation Software. It is December 20th, 1982. This is the second time that we've seen Simon R. Mansfield and Temptation Software. They also did Dungeons of Doom. So way to go, Simon. The year is 1940. You're in command of the vessel, the Admiral Graf Spee, a pocket battleship. Your ship is armed with 6 11-inch guns and 2 torpedo tubes. Your objective is to sink as many enemy ships as possible. New line means enter, so let's go. The display is going to show a map of the Atlantic. A temporary flashing pixel will show the approximate position of an allied ship. The main flashing pixel shows your position. I think I know what we're getting into. If we got a lot of text or explanation, that means it might be strategy time. Let's see. Press new line and see what happens. This does take place in World War II, another video game with a war theme, World War II theme. And if it's on the ZX81, I'm hoping it's all ASCII, all day. Is it taking that long to load? Or did I not push? Oh, I didn't push new line hard enough. Captain, we've contacted the supply ship for the Altmark. Your supplies have been replenished and some repairs to your ship have been carried out. Your score is 0. Yes, it is. All right, so it's loading in, and this is the game. The quickly flashing signal in the center is us. That is where the Admiral Graf Spee is. And then we have other flashes. Yeah, the little flashes are other enemies. And we can use the directions. Look at it at the top where the compass rose is. Or if you want to be really historical, you can do what the Graf Spee eventually did, which is scuttle. So it actually tells us if we push M, we can just scuttle the ship. Whole game's over, and it's done. That's it. All right, so let's move. We've got an enemy to the north of us. So I'm going to go ahead and move up north. As you can see, it slowly moves. That was me pushing. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to push the key. I'm going to go northeast toward the target that was flashing. I'm going to push 3 now. And you wait, and finally, then I move to the next position. That's how long it is. I think we have another enemy, but it is turn-based. At least this section is turn-based. Can I get to an enemy, though? When you finally get to a place where you think the enemy is, oh, there he is. He's right above us. Go up one. Let's see if we can match it. Should be right here, and then push S. And when you push S, this is going into a first-person perspective where you now can control the speed of your ship, and you can actually shoot torpedoes. Yeah, there we go. It gives us all the commands on screen. Kind of cool, because most video games now, strategy games, you got to look at the manual, and it's all here. You can do torpedoes. Where's my captain target to north? I want to fire north then. Give me torpedoes, and you can also do guns. It is so slow. This is a stock ZX81. It's not doing anything super fancy, but you do have to have the patience to move. Did I see it even animation? Why is it not firing? Or maybe it did, but it just doesn't have the picture for it. Wow, yeah. Once again, another strategy game that Chronologically Gaming is not doing justice. All right, let's go north. So you're making your way to the north slowly from the first-person perspective. So in this one sense, if you wanted to be kind, the game has both turn-based strategy and real-time, sort of, very slow real-time, as you're in this mode, because you're supposed to be tracking down enemies. What's kind of bizarre, though, is the game is you taking over the Graf Spee. That is a German ship. So this video game, if you're a German in World War II, I hate to break it to you, you're the villain. So this is one of those video games where you get to play as the villain. You're playing as a German battleship in World War II. So if you want to play video games where you're a villain, Admiral Graf Spee is one of them. Oh, maybe we read the manual wrong, Marshall. He's bringing up the flashing dots were Allied ships. Maybe they were. And that's why we're not seeing any targets, at least from this range. So you would have to play this for a long time. You'd have to have the patience. And you can understand the switching between real-time and turn-based. I mean, very loosely. I'm using that loosely. It's still going to take a lot of practice. I'm going to stop there because that's not all the Graf Spee we got going on tonight. There's more than that. We're not going to rate this one yet because Admiral Graf Spee is also here on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Admiral Graf Spee. We got two ports or two versions of the game. I'm hoping there's lots of color on the Spectrum and sound. Here's the cassette case for Admiral Graf Spee, or a later one by Temptation Software. Temptation Software. Why is it called that? Why did you call your company that? And you're going to do strategy games? And there's a box we already saw, but for the ZX Spectrum. So this might have been a later release of Admiral Graf Spee. And then we have, besides the box, the terrible picture of the cassette. And then another box, even later box. You can see the 48K Spectrum. We'll be in England for quite a long time. I hope it doesn't look like that one, Mike. All right, this manual looks a little bit better, at least clear. Yeah, here we go. Intermittent flashing pixel on the chart denotes the presence of an enemy ship in the Atlantic. Yeah, they're the enemy. They are the flashing one. The year is 1939. As captain of the Admiral Graf Spee, your task is to sink all enemy shipping in the waters using your 6 11-inch guns and torpedoes. Search the area, locate the ship, use your instrumentation display, which includes variable speed, compass headings, fuel, target distance, compass bearings, ammunition, and torpedo state. Maneuver the visual range ready for the kill, but the enemy can take evasive action. We didn't see much evasive action on the ZX81. It was pretty slow. There is 7 levels of difficulty from easy to practically impossible. We didn't see that on the ZX81, but it was supposed to be there. Initially, the display shows a map, and it gives you all the directions on the game, which is kind of cool. All right, so the other versions, this is pretty much it. Let's play the first version of Admiral Graf Spee for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. Again, Simon R. Mansfield, Temptation Software. It is December 20th, 1982. Here's what you were playing on your home computer, especially for strategy fans. So again, this is not to be confused with Pursuit of the Graf Spee by SSI, and this marks the 159th game we've seen on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. There we go, the year is 1940. Yes, our objective, sink as many enemy ships as possible. Display is going to show the Atlantic Ocean. Temporary flashing pixel will show the approximate position of the enemy ship. The main flashing pixel shows your position. To destroy the target, you must get within visual range and then fire. I can already hear some sound, which is good. There it is, level of difficulty. Very nice. We got practically impossible, more quite difficult. Let's do, we played Admiral Graf Spee. Let's go even harder. I don't even know what level the ZX81 was on when we played it. You've contacted your supply ship, the Altmark. Your supplies have been replenished and some repairs of your ship have been carried out. Your score is 0. Yes, it is. So this is already loading faster, performing faster. I am on a 48K Spectrum playing this. It's possible you had the 16K Spectrum right now to play games. So maybe your 16K was running like the ZX81. Yes. Bring on the dad jokes in the chat. Love it. All right, so we can see we have some more color. I am represented by the blue plus. The enemy ships are flashing in different directions. So yeah, I can go east. Let's see how slow we go. Oh, interesting. This one, it tracks where you were. So you can see me moving around a little bit better than you did on the other one. Okay, let's go southeast. I saw an enemy down here. There's another one. Our radar's a little bit delayed, but I'm getting better response times. Let's see if we see that enemy down here. I saw him right in this spot. But you want to search him out. Wait for it. And by the way, this whole section's turn-based. So if I don't make any decisions or any actions, nothing's going to happen right now. It's just going to continue to flash, show this, burn into the screen you have at home. I guess we have a little bit of flashing. Okay, let's go east. Just using numbers. Everything for this game is all controlled from the keyboard only. Put away your joysticks. Oh, we got someone south. Let's see if we see anybody else. Supposed to use tactics. I guess the one to the east was closer. But the way that it's tracking is a nice touch. It's all right. Let's keep going south now. I see him down there. Now, do we have it? All right, is he in range? What? No, there's one way up there on the top. How did you get up there? Let's do a search here. Okay. Arriving at position, you can only push S. I'm trying to push S, but nothing's happening. Let's go back to the east. I saw him. He was south. Let's go southwest. That's it. Go. I know he was there. Why isn't it letting me do the search? Just like I want to see the first person perspective. Oh, there it is. Maybe it only lets you search when you're at a target. Ready? Fire those torpedoes. And fire the guns. You can increase or decrease. Now, of all the games you could play on home computers, it really is a luxury to have all the controls on the screen to explain what's going on. Let's increase speed to 5. Most of the time, you're going to be having a manual out or documentation, paperwork out if you're playing a strategy game. But this is bare bones strategy. There is a lot more complicated, detailed strategy video games of the games we've seen up to this point. And because of that, we get to go, like, in other words, I've heard of Admiral Graf Spee. I've heard of this game being one of the first or earliest ones on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. I've heard people talk of Pursuit of Graf Spee. But you really need to know if this game's good because you'd have to play it a long enough time. And so because of that, we're going to another Chrono recap. This one is all about strategy video games. Since the beginning of this show, we've seen 291 strategy video games, starting all the way back with the old school strategy video games, North Atlantic Convoy Raider, and Midway Campaign. And seeing the two side by side, they look like the exact same game, just a bunch of ASCII characters. We also saw really big games like Computer Bismarck, war games, strategy subgenres of games. We also saw strategy in your hand. The Milton Bradley Microvision had Sea Duel. Again, really, really bare bones strategy. Then, as we had already mentioned, Pursuit of the Graf Spee is available to play on the Apple II that we've already seen. We've also seen Guadalcanal Campaign. And these are grand strategy games, much more massive in scale. You're controlling multiple ships, multiple units that are moving around. There's another kind of strategy / simulation game that we saw called Ship of the Line that I wanted to bring up because it does involve naval, but it's very different. It's more borderline simulation rather than strategy. At this point, we sub-genre strategy games. The game we're playing right now is technically a turn-based strategy game. It's the 53rd turn-based strategy game we've seen up to this point. But it involves something that we have seen called naval simulation, a vehicle simulation game that has naval simulation. This marks the 16th game. Admiral Graf Spee is I guess these two games are the 15th and 16th naval simulator video games that we've seen. And right now in 1982, you'd have to use that term very loosely. I mean, naval simulation can be a bunch of stuff. I mean, because you can say what we saw in the arcades originally. This is the Destroyer arcade game. You could call this a naval simulator because it's meant to simulate like you using the periscope in the cockpit. I mean, the same could be said for both Seawolf and Seawolf 2 that you saw in the arcades, just because it's trying to simulate you being underwater and being simulating a naval battle. Getting closer though in the arcades, we saw something called Subs, which was a top-down arcade video game, still very much an arcade video game, but it had roots of proto-naval simulation. Another example is Fire 1, because you and a friend were able to combat against one another. Again, I'm using this term simulation loosely because there's not a whole lot you can compare to. And then again, this is a big stretch, but Sub-Rock 3D is available just because you're meant to be in this cockpit. But I mean, this is obviously just a shooter. You're just shooting everything up. At home on home consoles, we've seen on the Intellivision a game called Sea Battle. Now we're talking real simulation, real naval simulation. And Intellivision also has Sub Hunt that we've seen. These are, in their own right, very good simulation or strategy video games. And then on the Creativision home console, we saw a game called Air Sea Attack. Again, sort of simulation, not so much as the strategy that we saw on Sea Battle or Sub Hunt. On the Emerson Arcadia 2001, they have a strategy game called Ocean Battle that we've seen. This one still could constitute for that, I guess. Sort of strategy. Again, you take what you can get right now. But more recently on the Atari VCS, we saw Submarine Commander. And again, this one is trying to make you feel like you're in a sub, but it's more of an action arcade game. If we go to home computers, that's where you can really see the titles and see the games, because at home you can play on the Atari home computer Submarine Commander. This is a real naval simulator. The home computer is where you can get the best strategy or simulation style video games. The Apple II gave us a game called Torpedo Fire. Again, very in-depth and not quite as good as I would say Submarine Commander, but some other really good ones on the Apple II are Fathoms 40, one of the best ways you could play a naval simulation game, or U-Boat Command is also on the Apple II. So this is the kind of world of strategy that we're living in, or naval simulation games. So if you know that exists, that these are the games that are possible, looking at Admiral Graf Spee, it actually is I mean, it's okay. I don't even want to call it average because it's really not. And for reviews at the time, they were not kind to this game. Admiral Graf Spee, they did call it slow and chunky, at least reviews from 1983 and 1984. I couldn't find anyone reviewing this in 1982 because it was released so far at the tail end, way at the end of 1982. Most people were talking about it in 1983. And here on the show, it looks like we have some ratings being thrown out there. But it's difficult to rate a strategy game just because you'd have to play it a long time and wait a long time for all the turns, whether it's real-time or turn-based. So we do got some ratings that are being thrown out, 2 to 2.5 stars. Jay Mogler's saying 2. Marshall's saying 2 as well. Yeah, so I would say for our short playthrough of Admiral Graf Spee, we played it on both systems, the ZX 81 and ZX Spectrum so far. It is true it has multiple endings. It's true you get to play as the villain in the game, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to give you some posts down below for Wargaming Scribes. So if you want to see a blog of someone who actually played Admiral Graf Spee all the way through to get a better understanding, you can. We are going to see this game ported later to the Amstrad CPC and the Commodore 64 because by law, every video game has to be ported to the Commodore 64. So now that we've seen the games, I'm going to rate them as thus. On the Sinclair ZX81, I'm going to go with 2 stars. This is bad. Of all the games you could play, I'm not going to be kind because there's much better games, especially on the ZX81 you could play. On the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, I will bump it up a notch. They improved a few things, and you can understand how this one could be considered a classic or whatever on the ZX Spectrum. I'll say 2.5 stars for Admiral Graf Spee on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. There's more strategy to come and more games to come. What's our very next video game? All right, it's time to see what's up on the Apple II. This is Beneath Apple Manor, the special edition. I'm surprised we haven't run into this before. We sort of run into it, but not really. This is awesome. It's a classic. Beneath Apple Manor is found here first on the Apple II. It's the 448th game we've seen for the Apple II so far. We've already seen Beneath Apple Manor. It was originally released in 1978, and there's a whole thing I'm going to go over about what kind of history this game is. But first, let's just get into what we're seeing now. December 1982, you get this game. What's to be expected? Is it good? Beneath Apple Manor. Well, so far, the front of the box, if you are a fan of the 1978 game, then you'd be excited. I'm pumped because I already know what the game is. You see from the box, you flip it over in the back and it has the story. Many years ago, the last known descendant of the Apple family disappeared without a trace, leaving the ancestral manor house deserted atop windswept Apple Peak. Rumor has it that the source of the family's once great power was a magical focus shaped like a golden apple, and that it still lies hidden within the subterranean labyrinth beneath Apple Manor. So cool. So Beneath Apple Manor makes sense because you're playing on the Apple. Kind of like when we played Apple Panic, which was based on Space Panic, but then Apple Panic got ported to all these other computers and it made no sense because it wasn't on an Apple. But we're on the Apple. This is going to be ported to other places. It says it's back again and it's even better. It tells you what the game has compared to the original. It says it has high resolution graphics. It's faster. I hope it's faster. It moves at lightning speed. Sound effects. It has more monster types, more magic items, a deeper dungeon, a save game feature. Shouldn't you own a classic? Yes, you should. Beneath Apple Manor runs on any Apple II Plus. Very nice. There's the manual cover, and there's the advertisement flyer. The classic fantasy game for the Apple II, now in high res. Yeah, that's right. It was low res. We don't want to play any more low res games. And another ad at the time that also brings up Fracas. Look at that. And I think I've already mentioned this ad, but it has the other ones, Asteroids in Space, and a few other games that we've seen by this company. This is called Quality Software. It's the 15th company that we've seen, the 15th game we've seen this company do, and it's a very early computer game publisher bringing us games like Fast Gammon, Asteroids in Space, Arrows and Alleys, Battleship Commander, there's Fracas, Martian Invaders, Nike 2, Tank Trap, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, Starbase Hyperion, and Jeepers Creepers. So got some good games in there. Some really good games that are released by this company. And then we got the disc. The original was on cassette, which explains why it was so damn slow. The disc version, though, is faster. And you can see we have a lot more space inside, too. By Don Worth. Way to go, Don. Don, the only other game we've seen by Don was the original Apple Manor. And if you think to yourself, ooh, look at that screenshot. Look at this. Enhanced remakes? Does that exist? Is that a thing in 1982? It is. This is the 14th enhanced remake that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. Some other examples of enhanced remakes we've seen have been Cranston Manor, Alien Typhoon, and then the majority of them have been Scott Adams' graphic adventure series. They've all been remade or not remastered. They've been remakes of the original. This one is a remake of the original. Here's the manual for Beneath Apple Manor. The game explains the story over here on the left side. And there it is, originally released in November 1978, making it the very first fantasy game for the Apple II computer. Continued to be popular. Oh, very nice. They said November. I don't think I said November. There's the table of contents. We are not going to read this manual in its entirety because it has the whole story. It explains how to get started in the game. It explains how to load the game because you're going to need to know that. We're going to go through and read some of this stuff while we play the game, but it does have a save feature, which is new. You could not save in the original Apple Manor, which means it's a true roguelike, because this game can save, which means there's not permadeath. At least the special edition doesn't have permadeath. You can even customize the game like you did in the original with number of rooms, and if you want to play high res or text, you can play this like Rogue on mainframe if you wanted to. It has a difficulty factor and explains what the difference is, and explains what the screen is. Excellent manual. Thank you, manual. It has the map telling you what everything is and what you'll see on the screen between the different enemies. Got a little bit of artwork in the manual as well. Very nice. It tells you about all your player attributes, the strength, intelligence, dexterity, and body, and what that means. You're going to have experience in gold in the game, what you can do with the experience in gold, how you level up in the game. They have a main staircase that you begin each level, and make sure you know where that main staircase is, because it doesn't mark itself on the map. You have to write it down. But you don't have to write down the map if you don't want to. This game has an auto map feature, one of the very first, at least the one from 1978. And it has reincarnation. You can do a brain scan. That's how you save the game in this, which is kind of cool. Yeah, there it is. Perform a brain scan. And then we have more monsters that we did in the original. We have green slimes. Got to have slimes in a role-playing game. We got ghosts. We got trolls. We got purple worms. Purple worms. I don't think they were... No, they were the original. We have invisible stalkers. We got vampires and dragons. And then we have the commands. You need to know what all the commands are to play this game, or you will be lost. How to get through doors. How to use your magic or intelligence. How to do combat. How to open chests. How to drop stuff, because there's encumbrance. If you carry too much stuff, you're not going to be able to move. And they even have an advanced players section over here on the far right of how, if you've already played Apple Manor, you want to know what's different. Oh, don't forget the spells, too. You can zap, you can heal, you can x-ray, and you can teleport. You're going to use a lot of your intelligence points for that, though. So anyway, we got the 12-step process here. Very nice. I'll let you read it if you want to, but there you go. Oh, look, the author's note with the date. Oh, I didn't see that date. September 20th, 1982. So this was even earlier on the Apple II. There is no reference of anyone bringing this up from September 20th. Or maybe he wrote that. I don't know. I'm thinking too much into it. Down at the bottom, we have a very nice reference card for all the commands, and you're going to need that to play the game. I think we're all set. We got what we need. But before we do, it's time for another Chrono recap. Where's my Chrono recap? We have to do a Chrono recap for role-playing games. That's right. Since the beginning of Chronologically Gaming, we have been playing role-playing video games. The role-playing video games at this point that we've seen on the show have been 90... This is the 96th role-playing game that we've seen thus far. And all of them are available on home computers. This is the 95th on home computers, because the only other role-playing game you could play is on home console. It's Dragon Stomper. Everything else you're going to find on home computers. So at this point, here's what is possible to play. The fantastic Calibeth is available on home computers, or the Apple II, to play. Calibeth is one of a kind, one of the best role-playing games until, the later ones. And then we also saw Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Excellent role-playing game. Stuart Smith, I believe, did this one, and it's incredible. Also out there available to play is Ultima 1 and Ultima 2. Both of them are available only on the Apple II. And I want to make sure we bring that up, because they didn't bring it up in Electronic Games Magazine when we read it. You could also be playing Wizardry. It's available right now. Again, this one's only available on the Apple II as well. So Wizardry 1 and Wizardry 2 we have seen and played on the show, and you could be playing those role-playing games. That's the cream of the crop. Right now, that is the most epic role-playing experience you could ever have. There's also a little outliers that we've seen called Caverns of Freytag, which is an action role-playing game. Really, really rare to have an action role-playing game, but it's possible, and there it is. You can also play the Dungeon Quest series, several of the games we've seen already up to this point, as well as the Sword Thrust series that could be possible to play. And Sword Thrust and Dungeon Quest, not as high heavy hitters, because Sword Quest actually has more heavy text elements, There's some other really cool role-playing games, though, like The Missing Ring is also out there that you could be playing. Really, really cool idea. Multiple characters on the screen at once. There's also Theseus and the Minotaur. There's Tunnels of Doom on the Texas Instruments home computer. There's also Dungeon, the computer game on the Apple II, which is a really fun role-playing game. Works really well. On one of the first Japanese role-playing games we saw was Dragon and Princess. This is how it looked originally, and then poof, you update the graphics and it looks like that. More on par to be competitive with the game we're seeing today. But there are subgenres of role-playing. This game, Beneath Apple Manor, is both a dungeon crawl and a roguelike. This game is only the 18th roguelike that we've seen so far. The very first time we saw Beneath Apple Manor, that was the first roguelike we'd ever seen, 1978. And I wasn't very kind to this game because it was so slow. Doing a command, you had to wait like 5 seconds, I believe, and I wasn't able to play it on the show. I didn't even give it its due when we first saw this on Chronologically Gaming. But there is other roguelikes. So I've mentioned this before. The history of Rogue is so convoluted and strange because there's not a whole lot of people talking about what came before because everyone just calls it roguelikes. The very first thing was Beneath Apple Manor, right here. This was the very first one. We also saw a game called Dungeon Campaign. And Dungeon Campaign, again, was taking inspiration from, I guess, Beneath Apple Manor, or maybe they just made their own thing up. After Dungeon Campaign, there still was nothing called Rogue yet. Rogue does not exist. And there's still another game on the Commodore PET called just Dungeon. This game is a roguelike. And then after this game, then there was Rogue on mainframe. On Chronologically Gaming, we do not play mainframe or terminal video games just because there's so many that you cannot play. But just know, Rogue is possible to play right now if you had a mainframe. Then after Rogue, there's another example of a game called Caverns of Mordia, but that's more text heavy, kind of like Sword Thrust as a roguelike. A really amazing one that I can't stress enough, was cool when we played it, was Fracas. It's like playing like Beneath Apple Manor, but you have multiple characters. So many more features involved. Another roguelike that we've seen was called Dunzin, and The Valley, which is available for the Atari home computer. The Valley is also on the Commodore VIC-20, and The Valley is also on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum that we've seen. Another one that is pretty good, Dragons and Treasure on the Commodore VIC-20. Really cool one to play on the VIC-20. And then an even better one on the Commodore VIC-20, Sword of Forgol, is another role-playing that we saw. After that one, we saw Kaif, which was on the TRS-80. Then following that roguelike, we saw the Telengard games. We saw Telengard on the TRS-80, Telengard on the Commodore PET, and Telengard on the Apple II. Then we saw Dunzin on the Apple II, and then Dunzin on MS-DOS. And then the most recent roguelike that we've seen was called Catacombs on the Sinclair ZX81. And I must stress this, we still have not seen Rogue at home. The video game that we all call Rogue is only on mainframe. All those other games are the games that you could be playing right now at home, but the famous Epic's Rogue, it's not out yet. It's not available right now. And at home, I guess, did you hear whispers of Rogue to get the name? Because it's not possible. You can't get Rogue at home right now. All right, so that brings us back to Beneath Apple Manor. So now you know what the landscape's like for roguelikes. You got your mind in the right framework. Let's pop in the disc and play Beneath Apple Manor, Special Edition by Don Worth, published by Quality Software. It is December 20th, 1982. I couldn't find a cleanly cracked version of this one, so we're just going to uncrack it, preparing ourselves for cracked games. Yuck. Oh, yeah, there we go. Do we want sound effects? Oh, yeah, I want to crank the sound effects. Let us know how to play. Okay, so now it's going to ask us if we want a standard game. I'm going to say no, because if you do a standard game, I think it's 5 rooms per level, and it just auto-generates for it. Let me show you what kind of options you can do. How many rooms do you want per level? So I'm going to start with 3. So 5 is what they usually have, but you can do 10 rooms per level if you want. You want high res or text graphics? So this is where you have the option, do you want it to look like Rogue and be text? You can. I'm going to go with high res because we want to crank the graphics to the max here. And then you can pick the difficulty you want. It does average level 5 if you do a standard game, and now you can pick what kind of level you want. And I love it. You can do the pushover level, you can do beginner, you can do safe trip. It kind of reminds me of when I first played Doom and they were making fun of the levels, difficulty levels. I thought it was so clever, but there's so many games on home computer that do the same thing. All right, so let's do too easy so we don't die super fast, because your first experience with Beneath Apple Manor, you're going to die. Come on, you know you're going to die. This game does have auto map feature. It has multiple endings. It has a map. You can actually see the map. You do not have to draw it on grid paper if you don't want to. It's just kind of cool. All right, so here we go. Press return to begin. Experience for this level, the max I can get is 508, and there is no picking a character. Everyone's a warrior. We're in. Okay, so this square, the top left where we started, is random because it's a roguelike. It's going to be different every time. This is where you can go get your experience exchanged for points for your levels, and also to exchange gold for weapons and armor. So down at the bottom we have our strength, which is maxed out at 20, our intelligence maxed out at 20, dexterity maxed out at 20, our body, which is essentially is our hit points, and then we got gold and experience. If you want to move, you have to do the cardinal direction. So if I head east, we have a door here. What do you do when you get to a door? Well, you can kick a door. Wham, the door doesn't budge. Or you can bash it open with B. Bam. When you bash a door, though, you fly through the door to the next room. Every room can have a random enemy. Right now, I could be attacked by a random enemy. It is turn-based, though. All right, so let's keep going east. Let's explore. The other thing that's kind of tricky with these games is there might be invisible walls. And you have to use some of your intelligence or magic to inspect. See, no secret doors here. I'm at the edge of the screen, so you can see I used my intelligence. My strength's okay, but if you want to take a break, you can push 0 to rest, and you see all my stats maxed out. You can also rest for a certain amount of turns if you don't need to rest, but we're not being attacked, so we're okay. Okay, we reached the edge of this wall. Let's head south. Let's look for any secret doors. Nope, none there. Any here? Nope, none there. West. Oh, we got a troll. Oh, gosh. Trolls. Trolls are tough-hided creatures capable of regeneration. This means that they can heal themselves as you inflict damage upon them. They are harder to hit and do more damage in a single blow than do slimes or ghosts, and are therefore more dangerous. They have few body points, however. Trolls' treasures are better and more frequent than ghosts or slimes. This is not good, though. Early game, troll usually means dead. Well, most roguelites, you're going to be dead. So I'm going to run. R. Help, help. Run north. You can only run in cardinal directions. You can't run in northwest, southwest, and things like that. So I went north. Let's go west and run. Keep going. West. Trolls attacking. West. And bash. So once we move to the next room, we're actually safe. I can rest up here, get my stats. Oh, no, I can't. There's a slime. Maybe we can attack the slime, though. All right, so these are green slimes. They're the least dangerous of all the monsters, as they inflict minimal damage when they hit you. They are easily hit, but can take a lot of damage. Their real danger is in their ability to occasionally damage your armor, which we don't have right now. Slimes have little, if any, treasure. So let's do it. A for attack. Whoa, one hit, 80%, very nice. We got one hit. So look at the bottom. We're looking at our body. Our body is what's important. Let's attack again. We missed, and the slime misses too. But you can see every attack, our strength still goes down. One hit, slime attacks, takes 1. We're looking okay still right now. Still based on the original stats, this is kind of tricky. Let's attack again. One hit, attack again. We miss, and that misses. If at any time your strength goes down or your intelligence goes down, you're done for. Body, though, yeah, is the only one you can't rest up to heal. So strength, intelligence, dexterity, you can rest and get those back, but you can't do that with body. Let's keep taking our chances here. We miss and miss, but strength's going down. Not good. And he's blocking the way to get out of here and rest. So not very lucky. All right, come on. Got it. Oh, we got him. Nice. Okay, so the monster's dead. You can see we got a whopping 8 experience points for the green slime. Fantastic. Let's go west. And this is where it says we're at the staircase. Do you want to exit? And we say yes. Okay, so once we say yes, all our stats come back, including body, which is so cool. I'm not going to be able to spend experience. I don't think so. If we say trade, does it even let me? No, it doesn't, because you have to have at least 10 to trade. Okay, so let's return. So nothing we can do yet until we find some treasure. Let's head south now. We got another door here. Can we kick it open? No, it doesn't budge. So bash it in. What? Bash it. Bash it. Oh no. It took that many times to bash it, so our health isn't, or our strength isn't very strong. But we have a ghost here. A ghost is even crazier. Although ghosts don't usually present a threat to your life, they have nasty abilities. When a ghost hits you, it reduces your strength, not your body. Damage done by a ghost is to your maximum as well as current strength, and your maximum strength cannot be recovered by resting or healing. In this sense, ghosts are experience points drains, since they must meet experience points to regain maximum strength. Ghosts can only be hit by magical weapons and cannot be heard. That's true. I wasn't listening by the door, but you can listen by the door. Treasures are usually better and more frequent, but here's the thing. Every time a ghost hits us and knocks our strength down, it's not temporarily bringing it down, it's permanently. And the only way to bring it back is if we get experience. So I'm going to try to bash through while I got strength. And the door doesn't budge. Bash. Please bash. It's still not bashing. Yes. Okay, I made it through. Ghosts will not follow us through the door, so I'm okay. So I can move north. We're at the staircase. We want to say yes. And, but look, my strength's from 20 down to 18. So the ghost permanently has messed up my strength. So we're going to go ahead and return now. But now we know there's a ghost somewhere to the south, and we got a troll somewhere to the east. All right, so let's go east. And let's try kicking again. Oh, can we listen? It says, shh, you hear nothing. Yeah, we know there's a troll over there. All right, let's try kicking. Doesn't budge. Bash it. Okay, door gives way. Let's heal, rest a little bit, get a couple strength back. Head south. The troll's here. There he is. Okay, the troll's here. Let's take 2 hits. Let's try to attack him. Try 1 hit. Yikes, 2 hits. We might have to run. We'll try it out, though. 33%. No way. Yeah, we're not very strong. We need really a treasure or something to be able to take him on. But I'm watching my body and strength, and we're missing almost every time. We got 1 hit on him, but it's not looking good. Body's at 6. No, let's head north. No, and we got a slime attacking us? Forget it. Let's bash. Woof. Okay, we made it safe. Go to the west. Yes. Restore back and return. So we're surrounded by enemies. And this first play experience, we haven't died yet. I'm kind of playing it very safe. And you saw you can have the ability to change the level. You can basically customize this to be the kind of experience you want. But it's amazing because it is a roguelike. Everything's random, and your experience every time you play is going to change. This special edition adds the ability to do the brain scan and save, so you don't have permadeath. If you get far enough, you do have to spend money to do a brain scan, but if you get far enough, you can save that character, then load up and keep going where you left off, which is kind of cool. All right, I don't think we can take on both the slime and troll. I'm going to go east and see if the slime shows up. Let's listen. If we listen by the door, the slime is on the other side oozing. All right, can we kick it? Doesn't budge. Bash it. Okay, rest. Bash it. Rest. Bash it. Why is this door not budging? Bash. There it is. Okay. It wasn't bashing probably because the slime's on the other side. All right, so let's attack this slime. We can knock him out. We're not going to get a lot of experience from him, but I should have enough to do at least one thing to upgrade after I take him out. So all I'm doing is A to attack, get 100% attacks on the slime. Should be able to take him out. I'm surprised we didn't run into any chests. First time, that's what we really need, because we need gold so we can buy weapons and armor. Right now, I think we start with a dagger, something like that. All right, they're dead. Run, go west. Leave the troll behind. All right, we're back at the staircase. We want to say yes. You can see we got 16 experience points, no gold for that. All our stats came back, so now we're going to do a trade. Experience points can be converted. Yeah, it's 10 for one attribute. So it asks how much do we want for strength. Since we lost strength to the ghost, I'm going to just do 1. So we just paid 10 experience points. We got 1 extra strength, so we're at 19. All right, let's go to return. Still no gold, can't buy anything, can't pay for a brain scan. It's still early in the game. Now, the troll regenerates health. The only way I'd be able to take him out is if I had a weapon to take him out. So I'm going to go south. I'm going to try my luck with the ghost and show you how that works out. Let's bash. And the ghost is right there. Okay, so the only way you can attack the ghost is with magical items or with magic. I'm going to try Z for zap. And I inflict 3 hits. Very nice. So we got 3 hits on the ghost, but notice that my intelligence went down. Let's do it again. Z for zap. And we did it. We killed the ghost. I didn't expect us to kill him that fast. That's pretty good. All right, let's rest. And we're back to full stats. Very nice. All right, so now we'll head south. And it looks like we got a treasure chest here. South again. And then we do O for open. And the chest is locked, of course. Do we break the lock? Yes. And it's acid. Yikes. We got 1 hit, but we find a sword. Yes, we take the sword. It's a magic sword. Even better. Every chest, every treasure, every gold, all of it is meant to be random. And there's our troll buddy. Oh, great. All right, let's go ahead and go north. I don't know if a magic sword's going to do much to him. Well, but I was really hoping we get gold. Let's go north to the door and bash it. Quick, bash the door. Whew. Okay, good. Go north. Yes, we want to leave. And we don't have enough. We have enough to trade. We'll trade for... that's the other thing, too. You get gold from chests, but you also get experience points, which is nice. All right, let's raise our strength again. I want 1. And great. So we got no experience. We traded it all. Let's go return. Head east. Let's bash in the door. Keep heading east. I think we hit the wall over there. This means south. Yeah, there's our troll, buddy. He's following us around. All right, let's just try to take him out. Troll attacks. We take 2 hits. Let's go with attack. 60%. Our sword's helping us. Notice that I didn't need to equip. Interesting. Still missing, though. Troll's missing. Darn, took 2 hits that time. Nice. I hit 6 hits and killed him. That's great. All right, let's rest. Okay, so body's not doing so good. Resting doesn't help your body. So let's go north. North. Let's go west. West. Bash the door in. Bash. Bash harder. We need bigger strength, I guess. And then go west. Yes, we want to end here. We got very little. We only got 4 experience points. That's done. But we got our body back. Let's go east. All right, so you get the flow. It is much better, much faster than the first time we played Beneath Apple Manor. And I actually apologize. The Beneath Apple Manor we saw last time on the show was insignificant. I think I only played it for 5 seconds because I wasn't able to play something so slow on the show. No secret doors. Okay, we'll keep going over here to the west then. Okay, head south. Oh, it's opening up. Very nice. Oh, another chest. Let's do it. Open this one. Does it work? Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Chest contains 500 gold. Okay, so let's go back and... Uh-oh. And it contained 500 experience points. We are too loaded down to move. This means we don't have enough... Can we rest? Okay, can we go? Still too loaded down. That means I don't have enough strength to hold on this. I have to drop the gold. So let's drop. Okay, so now what we just dropped was... It automatically goes into the chest, so we can come back and get it later. So let's go west and then north. We made enough. This slime isn't going to stand a chance now. 7 hits on the slime. Love it. Yeah, and the slime's gone. All right, looking good. Go north. Oh, no, I got too much again. All right, let's do it. I have to do drop and go north. Go bash. Uh-oh, we got a ghost. Quick. Oh, no. Okay, we're loaded down to move. Drop again. No problem. Go west. We're back at the trade. Man, we have so many things we can do now. We can buy weapons, trade, buy armor. We can do a brain scan if we wanted to. All right, so that ghost brought our strength down again. All right, let's trade. Now we have so much we can fill up with experience points. Let's put 5 in strength, 5 in intelligence, 5 in dexterity. Watch my experience going down, and 5 in body. That's pretty good. Let's do more. Trade. Let's do 5 more in strength, 1 more intelligence, none in dexterity, and then 1 in body. There you go. So we got 2 experience left. So let's get an armor now, since we already have a magical sword. Here's what we can buy. We can do plate. Sweet. I don't know if we have the strength for that. Because it has encumbrance, like you can have too much to weigh you down. You could go for something better like the plate armor, but I don't think we have the strength to do it. So I'm actually going to go with chain, and I'll do that one. And that's it. Very nice. We'll keep the gold and return. And what he does is he'll keep the rest of the gold in the bank for safekeeping. Thanks! So it's like a bank. That's awesome. All right, let's head east, and we should be able to take on that ghost pretty well. Let's bash it in. And the ghost is right there. So we'll do, again, magic attacks. Or actually, I can do an attack with the sword. Let's see if it works. Whoa, it does. That magic sword killed the ghost in 1 hit. The monster is dead. Love it. Okay, so let's go down south. Let's get our gold back. No, another ghost. Well, you're going to take that. Boom. 1 hit. That magical sword is awesome. Okay, you keep going south. And east. Open up the chest. Wait, this one's empty? Did it go in the other one? There we go. There it is. Oh, 240 gold. So we got it all back. All right, let's get back to the north. And go bash this door in. Go west. We're at the main staircase. Yes, we want to get out of here. Raises our stats back. We got all the experience points, too. That's funny. Is experience points weighing you down with gold? That's too funny. All right, so let's do trade. Let's raise our stats some more. Let's go with 10 strength because that ghost keeps zapping it. Intelligence, let's go with 5. Dexterity, let's go with 5. And then body, let's go with 5. So used them all up. Look at our stats raising. So cool. Okay, it looks good. He takes the rest of the gold and leaves it there because I don't think we paid for anything. All right, so that's where we're going to stop our play of Beneath Apple Manor. I would have done a brain scan so much. That was actually a really good run because I did play tests of this before. But still, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. So doing this live on the show is pretty cool. We're going to see this game later ported to the Atari home computer, this special edition ported to the Atari home computer and to PC. PC booter. And you might be asking yourself, why did you spend so much time talking about role-playing games? Because we did the Chrono recap. It's because there's only one other RPG that we're going to see before the end of 1982 on the show. And it is not a cool dungeon crawl or tactical role-playing game or roguelike. So that's why I wanted to give you the spiel, because this is the last really cool, interesting role-playing game of 1982. Not to fudge the other one. You'll see what the other one's like when we get there. But of all the games you could play right now across all home computers, Beneath Apple Manor is still special. Inspiration, where you came from, how you play the game. You understand the way this game works for other role-playing games. So I'm already seeing some people throw out, Mike's throwing out 4 stars. Very nice. Paul's saying about 3 to 3.5, which is pretty average for all the games you can see up to this point. This one is pretty fun. Compared to every other game you can play on home computers, it's not to the level of something I would say like Ultima or Wizardry. The other examples that we gave you are possible to play, but still this one is a polished role-playing experience, and it's customizable, which is really nice. There's a 3.5 from Jay Mogler. I'm thinking the same. It's either a 3.5 or a 4-star game across all the games you could play on home computers. This was a good run, but most of the time your first run is just going to be death. And there you go, another 3.5. Yeah, it's not in the realm of something that's one of the best games you could play across all home computers. It is not a 5-star game, but I will give Apple Manor Special Edition props. We got mostly 3.5s that are out there, so yeah, I'll say it's an above average video game, and I'll even go so far as to say 4 stars. It's well done. Right now in December 1982, this is an excellent home computer video game. All right, that's where we put all the video game playing on pause. Thanks again, everyone that's joining me here live on Chronologically Gaming. That's here to see every single video game that's ever been released. A big shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon that are helping out, supporting us financially on the show. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the shout outs. Really appreciate it. Telling me if this is the kind of thing you like. If you want to see more of these kinds of games, then be sure to do something to let me know to keep driving forward in this awesome quest. Well, next time on Chronologically Gaming, Mr. Do Toilet Paper Thieves on the TRS-80, Splodgies from Space on the ZX Spectrum, and if you've been good this year, Santa will give us some games for the TRS-80 color computer. That's it for today, and like I always say, if you are a real fan of roguelikes, you should start calling them Beneath Apple Manor likes. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and be a Chronologically Gaming influencer, rating the games as we play them. This video wouldn't be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and Main. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every video game. We have links down below that give more information on the games we played this episode, as well as our Discord and Patreon. There's a link called All the Games We Have Played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.